So today's video is going to be about the evolution of the Gran Turismo series. And we're going to start, obviously, with Gran Turismo 1 on the PlayStation 1. All the way back, the early days of the series. And we're going to show you how revolutionary this release was at the time, and still really is a pretty decent game. It holds up pretty well. Gran Turismo 2, on the other hand, was a release that does hold up better because there's more cars, more customization abilities, more tracks. This was a giant step forward for the series and for the system, and it definitely laid the groundwork for 3, which I have here next. And Gran Turismo 3 is one of those games that really sold a lot of PlayStation 2s when it released. It had a lot of hype behind it, and the graphics were just a clear generational leap over the PS1. It really showcased what the PS2 could do, and the driving physics were miles better than anything the PS1 could do. This is actually the pack-in version of the game, if you can tell with the not for sale version at the bottom. It's not rare or anything, it's just a cool variant that was packaged with some PS2s. But this game was incredible. The car count did go down, but it was more quality over quantity on this release. So that's that. And then we got Gran Turismo 4, which actually happens to be my personal favorite of the series. Probably played 500 hours of this game on the PlayStation 2. It's one of the best games ever made, in my opinion. It's probably the best racing game ever made. It just has so many tracks, so many different abilities, so many different disciplines of racing, so many cars, like 1,000 cars. It's crazy. And for a PS2 to look as good as this game does, it's pretty crazy. You can even run it at 1080i, which is one of the only PS2 games that can do that. You can even see on the back there. But yeah, that's my personal favorite of the series. And then Gran Turismo 5 for the PS3 is the last one we're going to look at here, because I actually don't own Gran Turismo 6, and Gran Turismo Sport is so new that I don't want to talk about it really, because it's not even a full Gran Turismo game. But 5 XL edition here, and this one is actually pretty good. It was a little divisive between the fan base, but I did enjoy it quite a bit. It had a lot of hype, and it kept getting delayed, and there was the prologue version, of course. But we're just looking at full release versions here. And this one had a NASCAR license, which was kind of goofy for the time. It had go-karts. They kind of just like threw everything at the wall, and whatever stuck. And it created a pretty cool game. It had a lot of the tracks from 4, and a lot of the cars from 4 actually came over as standard cars, and then some of them were premium cars, which looked a lot better and had in-car views. Kind of thought it was a cheap way to add in all those cars. I don't know. That was probably one of the main reasons people weren't a fan of this release, but I enjoyed it quite a bit. The other thing was, obviously, you get the bump to the PlayStation 3, so the graphics are better. It runs at 720p. There's not a whole lot else to say about this one offhand. We'll see in the gameplay, though. You definitely see the backgrounds are pretty gorgeous and good looking, and the cars actually are pretty good looking too, even for this day. Yeah, this one actually had 3D support too. The PS3 could do 3D, which I don't think anybody used it, but it supported it. But yeah, that's the back cover there, and it's had a really cool, before I forget, online version or online game mode, shuffle race, which was really a cool idea. It would take performance index and it would shuffle that, and it would give you a random car that was still fair to race against everybody else, but you get a different car every game, and it would vary drastically on like what you were driving. It was a very fun game mode, and I played a lot of hours of that online. So that's one of my favorite parts of this release. It's definitely not my favorite of the series, but still a good game. So we'll see some gameplay from this too. If you're more interested in any of these retrospective game series reviews or overviews, let me know. Hey guys, I just wanted to show you here quick how I'm capturing the footage from the PS3 system. There's some issues capturing from the system over HDMI because of HDCP copyright protection. The 360 and original Xbox and most of the other consoles I have captured don't have this built in, but for some reason Sony decided to put this on their system. So for our Gran Turismo capture here, and then for possibly any other videos I do after that on a PS3 or PS2 or PS1, they're going to have to be over a composite connection to the fat PS3, and then over HDMI through this upscale converter unit. all the way back down to the Elgato HD60s here into my computer. The quality is not going to be extremely great, but it's what I can do right now to get past the HDCP copyright. So hope you guys enjoy it. Thanks. Here we are in Gran Turismo 1 here on the PlayStation 3 using backwards compatibility. As you'll see, arcade mode and simulation mode are on the same disc on this release. That changed with Gran Turismo 2, where it was on 2 separate discs because of the amount of cars and tracks. But we'll just jump in and look at simulation mode here really quick. I don't have a save on this current system, but we can still see some of the features that were in this release of the game. Music's good. Game audio down a little bit here. So you'll see you have your ability to buy different cars from the car manufacturers and dealers. You have your license testing. You have a car wash. You have the timed test track option. And then of course the go race option. So we'll just buy one of the starter cars here, which is probably going to be some sort of and you also have the used car dealerships are built in with the new car dealerships on this one. I'm guessing I'm going to have to buy a used car here to start out. We'll get a 94 Prelude with the H22A VTEC engine. So we'll get that there and see some specs on the car. Okay, so now we're going to go and we'll just get into a race here. As you see, you have your typical starter leagues here. Let's do GT League. Let's do Sunday Cup. Oh no, I need a license for this. I forgot about that. We'll just do a time trial event here to showcase the game. We'll load up Trial Mountain because this is one of my favorite original tracks on the game. Yeah, and we'll get some footage here of the racing, and you definitely get to see how much improved Gran Turismo 2 and then of course 3 on the jump to PS2 was. Okay, let's go ahead and just start. Man, Trial Mountain looks very different on this versus Gran Turismo 3 and 4 that I'm used to playing. It's been a long time since I played this release. No D-pad support either, so you're using or no analog stick support. So you do have to use the D-pad to drive, so it's going to be a little tough to do a super fast lap, but we'll see what we can do here. As you can see, the graphics were very good for the time. The driving actually feels pretty good still, pretty responsive. The Prelude's pretty good car actually. We'll go ahead and just complete one lap on here. There's not a whole lot else to say about the first release of the game, and it definitely laid the groundwork for everything, but there wasn't a whole lot of extra fluff or features built into it. It was basically buying cars, doing the races, obtaining new licenses. That was kind of the name of the game. I think the composite, the composite output is crushing the black level and making this look kind of terrible, but as I mentioned before, this is the best way I can get it to capture right now, so we'll just have to run with it. But yeah, other than that little spin out there, this is actually pretty playable still. Definitely, this was a racing game unlike anything that came before it, so this laid the foundation for all the racing titles we know today. We did 1 lap there. All right, let's back out to the menu quick. See what that got us. Wasn't a particularly fast time, but I didn't get us anything. Okay. Go to the car wash really quick. Oh, it's already clean. It doesn't need it. As you can see, there's not a lot of extra stuff going on here, so there's not a lot else to talk about on this release. You could trade cars between memory cards. You could battle each other between memory cards. So there was some cool functionality on that front, and arcade mode had split screen support. But that's pretty much it for Gran Turismo 1. So we'll move on here to Gran Turismo 2 next. Alright, so we're into Gran Turismo 2 here, and we put in the simulation mode disc. Just because the arcade mode disc is just going to allow you to do quick races, split screen, and that sort of thing. This is going to be the bread and butter of any Gran Turismo game, and they actually split it up onto 2 separate discs because of the size of the game. The amount of cars, the amount of tracks, that kind of stuff. So we'll load into simulation mode here, and as you can see, it's laid out a little differently. It's similar but different in the sense that they got it split up by city. You can actually change the wheels on the cars now. Same machine test, same license testing, and that kind of stuff. We'll visit the West City here, and we're just going to go ahead and buy a car. Actually, we're not going to do West City. West City looks like it's all Italian cars, so I probably can't afford anything there. But East is Japanese cars, if I had to guess. Yep. And so we're going to go ahead and see what Toyota has available. And so the used market is built into the dealership here still, but you'll notice that the tuning capability has been added, so you can do modifications to the cars, and there's special cars now, and there's also special events per manufacturer. So the just scale of the game is a lot larger. We can buy... Let's go ahead and buy this guy. Celica GT4, so this will be the all-wheel drive turbo 2-liter Celica. Go ahead and buy this thing. Gran Turismo 2 also added rally as an option, so that's pretty cool. That's a whole nother discipline to add into the game. Once we get back here, we'll get into a race. Oh, actually, let's take a look at the tuning capabilities for each manufacturer. You got your typical exhaust, brakes, engine, just like you'd see in any other Gran Turismo or Forza game, but this was the first one that added that. It's pretty awesome. It adds a lot of replayability and a lot of incentive to keep playing the game. Let's see if we can get into a race here quickly. If we go Gran Turismo League, you'll see the amount of races that are available to you are way higher than they were on the first game. Looks like there's restrictions on horsepower here, so we'll try. Oh, license required. Okay, let's see if we can go back. See if we can just get into a time trial event or something, or at least a machine test. To demonstrate the test track here, and then we can try to go through some of the tracks that are available on this game. Definitely the biggest change on this game was just the amount of cars. They went from about 150 to almost 500 cars. The gameplay is very similar. The graphics are actually pretty similar. I think due to the just increase of the count of cars, they couldn't really throw out the graphics too much. The soundtrack also grew to a higher number of licensed tracks on this one, and that carried forward into 3, 4, and 5 also, which carried some kind of bizarre choices for a Japanese racing game. I mean, 4 has like Van Halen and Joe Satriani and just some weird stuff, and I think 3 also has some weird rock music. But yeah, as you can see, this is going to play very similar to 1, just a much more full-featured game. We'll go back to the menu here quickly, and you can watch your replay. You can save replays. That will carry forward into the future releases. Let's pull up. I think they had the same amount of licensing. And you have the same kind of status here for your garage and what you can do there. I don't think it's gonna let me race in any of these without a license. Let's see if we can get a track list. Oh, Sunday Cup looks like it will let me do it. We'll run Tahiti Road here really quick. This was one of the added tracks for Gran Turismo 2. Try to put up a track list here comparing between the first and second one. I know they added quite a few tracks, and of course the rally. We'll get a little gameplay here. Tahiti Road is a mixed track. It's actually part dirt and part pavement. We're gonna just smoke these guys because the Celica is way better than all their cars. Track has a very Ridge Racer feel to it, to me. I don't know why. Or like a Sega Rally feel. It's just the car I'm driving. They tried to diversify the environments and push out the draw distance and add detail and stuff like that to the second one. But the end result just doesn't look a whole lot different than the first game. Try to put up a picture of the track count and list, and then car count and list also in between games, just to show you the difference. But yeah, I think we can move on to 3 as I crash. Yeah, that's a good point to stop. But 3 will be. So here we are in Gran Turismo 3, and you'll see they put it back onto one disc for both game modes. And you're going to notice right away that the graphics are much better on this release, but they actually had to lower the car count because this was an early title for the PS2. So we'll dive into simulation mode and show you here with this. So it's going to look similar, but again, a little bit different, some different options here. So the car dealership looks like it was consolidated into one space, and the tuning shop looks like it was consolidated into one area, and you still have your license testing, your machine tests. GT Auto is where you wash the car, change the oil, do maintenance, put wheels on, that kind of stuff. But we'll go ahead and we'll pick out a car here just like we did in the first two. We'll go with a US car this time. We'll see if we can afford any of these. That's not going to happen. Maybe it's all going to be too expensive. Let's see if... Let's see what Mazda has in this one. We got GLX. We can actually get a Miata. First gen Miata. Let's just buy this guy and try it out. Of course, as you progress here, there's options from road cars to race cars to you name it. We'll take a look at the tuning shop here too, and you'll see they changed this a little bit, but it still has your typical upgrades that you would expect to see from a racing game. Let's just take a peek in GT Auto really quick here. So we can change wheels, we can change the oil. It's pretty funny they gave you that ability, but this was pretty cool if you were into cars. I'll put some BBS wheels on the car here quick. You'll notice everything just responds so much faster being on a PS2, and we're actually running this on a fat original PS3 on PS2 backwards compatibility. So it might actually look slightly better than a PS2 version would. But here, let's pull up a Ray. Actually, let's go to the garage here and see if there's any more options they added. So yeah, they did actually add the option to... Actually, that was there previous. Okay, so yep, so you can trade between memory cards. You can see game status. Check out the Sunday Cup. We'll do Trial Mountain just so you can see the difference between Gran Turismo 1 and then Gran Turismo 3 here on the PS2. And it's pretty startling how much better it actually does look. We'll just boot it up. And this looks like... This is crazy. This holds up actually pretty well today. This looks great. Analog stick support, so I'll be able to drive a lot better. Notice in the background the Lenny Kravitz remix, techno remix. The music started to get very weird in these ones. Oh. That's just the geometry and the car models and just everything is so much better than what the PS1 was capable of. This is awesome. This is still a game I enjoy playing today, even almost 20 years old. The physics are way better, they feel a lot tighter, the controls feel great. I noticed the frame rate might be having a little bit of issues here through the capture. I don't think this game had any frame rate issues originally on normal hardware, just playing it. Yeah, just the track textures, the God rays coming through the trees, everything just looks pretty good. You'll notice, of course, too, when we move to Gran Turismo 4, there's going to be a pretty significant jump again forward in graphics. It's not going to be as significant because it's going to be the same system. We'll get that jump when we go to Gran Turismo 5 on the PS3. But yeah, this is still a great game. This is still a lot of fun to play. We'll exit out. And oops, shit. We'll exit out, and the replays look great. You can save them. Let's get back to the main menu here, and we'll go into arcade mode for just 1 second, just to show you the tracks and everything like that. So, I almost forgot. So, Gran Turismo 3 started this. It may have been there earlier, but I think 3 was the first game to do it where you don't unlock tracks until you have a certain amount of game time played and also amount of races completed. So, you'll see there's some of the original tracks here, but you can't choose a Laguna Seca or any of the real tracks yet. So, I'd have to play longer to unlock those, but let's give you an idea of the menu and presentation, just how well this game was made. But we'll get 4 up next to compare that. All right, so here we are in Gran Turismo 4, and didn't show any of the intro videos of the previous games, but this was the first one that stood out to me that had a really awesome intro video. So we'll just go ahead and let you watch this here. Each game also does have kind of a cover car, theme car, and for this it was the 2005 Ford GT LM race car. This was really pushing the PS2 in 2005 as far as you could. Polyphony had kind of figured out all the tricks, and they were able to push the hardware extremely hard, and the result was really great. I remember watching this when I was younger. This was so cool. I had never seen anything like this in a racing game. Skip through this now. Just had to let you see part of that because that is just awesome. All right, well, we'll jump right into, they've actually, you notice you changed from simulation mode to Gran Turismo mode, which is an interesting change. It's going to have a lot of the same functionality, but this release definitely built on probably more 2's ideas. There's almost 1,000 cars in this game. They added a historic showroom. They added special condition events for rain and snow. They added professional events, which are endurance races and that kind of stuff. Actually, endurance has its own thing. So professional events is just a rank, and it looks like extreme events. So it's been a little while since I played this, but they split the used cars up into their own showroom. Different tuning companies look like they're in their own area. But yeah, this, you can tell the scale of this game is drastically increased over previous games. And we'll just pull up, just go to the Japanese car dealership here, and we can take a look at, pull up what Toyota has. And just the sheer amount of cars is just really staggering in this release. Also see your tuning shop, your one make races, kind of introduced in 2. We're probably not going to be able to buy much of anything here. This one started where the used car dealership would actually have different cars every day. It looks like you can maybe afford a Civic Type R, so we'll just go ahead and buy this. And then this is the process of getting in the car. The presentation just was much improved over previous releases. So that's just buying a car, and then if we go, we can actually get tuning parts from the real life counterpart to the car we have. So since we have a Honda, we can go to Spoon and we can get parts from them. That's pretty neat. This is a good step forward for the series to add that. We're going to back out here though. We're going to go into arcade mode and we'll just do a quick race on Trial Mountain just to showcase the graphics here. So let's do a time trial. Original circuit. You'll see the amount of tracks is hugely increased. The El Capitan is one of my favorite tracks from this one. We'll actually just race on this one because this is going to show off the game a lot better. Let's see what take this guy out. We're gonna go none, we're gonna go manual, we're gonna go sport soft. And they also added the capability to do a B-spec, kind of like a almost coaching mode where you manage the car racing, you don't actually do the racing. Pretty interesting mode. I never played it. I wasn't into it very much, but I know some people that really enjoyed it. But you'll notice here again, polygon counts are up. Track surfaces look a lot better. Car models look better. Just everything is drastically improved again. This was also a release that could run at 1080i on North American systems, which was a very unique, uncommon feature for a PS2 game. We're not running it at that right now just because of the composite HDMI issue we dealt with, but this game does still look pretty good. Ooh. The static pre-render backgrounds still look great. There's not much else to say. This is definitely my favorite release of the Gran Turismo series, and it's the one I played the most of. It still looks great. Still a lot of fun. This is one, if you've never played, I'd highly recommend picking up. You get hours upon hours of gameplay out of this. This car handles really good. Alright, well there you go, that's Gran Turismo 4. We're on to 5 next, which will be the last part of this video because I don't own 6, and 6 is not terribly different from 5. So here we are on Gran Turismo 5, and you'll see this message appear here because it's the first time I put this game into my system. And it's going to give you the ability to install 8 gigabytes of files to the hard drive to decrease load times, and it does strongly recommend this. We're going to go ahead and hit no for now, so we might experience a little bit more loading times, but that's totally fine. And this is definitely not going to fit right to my screen, but that's fine. We're going to skip the intro video to this one just because it's, I don't know, it's not that memorable to me. We're going to jump into, oh yeah, I just remembered. So this one added the course maker functionality. It also added a TV functionality to watch people online because the PS3's online was a lot more robust than PS2. You'll see GT mode, arcade mode. So we're going to go into GT mode and we'll show you the differences between how this is laid out. Definitely capturing a little goofy here with the resolution over composite video, so I apologize for that. But see a much more streamlined interface here. This looks much more like a modern game. You see they kept A spec and B spec. A spec's driver, B spec is managing. Let's say it gives us $20,000 to start out. We have an online dealership added. Seasonal events are added, so there's more variety there. On an everyday basis, it changes. Photo mode makes its return here. We didn't really look at that in 4. Pretty cool feature of 4. They actually added photo mode instead of online mode because they couldn't make the online mode work. But go ahead and we'll just pick up a used car here. Actually, this brings me right into the next thought. So, Gran Turismo 5, as I mentioned in the intro video, uses standard and premium cars, and the standard cars are ripped straight from Gran Turismo 4, and they don't feature in-car views and they don't look very good, whereas the premium cars are going to be full-featured PS3 high-poly models. So we're going to see if we can afford any of the premium cars, because that's what I want to show off here. It looks like we can actually jump in the same car we had in Gran Turismo 3. And you see already it just looks fantastic. They did a really good job with the PS3 hardware. This was a release that got delayed countless times, with the prologue coming out in 2006 after the system released, and teasing it, that finally released. You get the headlight effects and you get the startup noise. Pretty awesome stuff. Once it loads here, or saves, we'll go back. We'll show you what some of the other capabilities are in this game. It's recommending we do some license tests, but we're just going to pull up GT Auto. So 5 has the ability to change your wheel options. It also has the ability to change oil, and you can also paint your car in this one. You can also add some body kit elements, and you can do some more like chassis maintenance and engine overhaul, and you can even make your car into like a full race conversion. Not every car has this capability. It looks like this one actually does. It turns it into like more of a spoon style race car. So that's pretty cool. Obviously don't have enough money to do it right now, but back to the menu here, and we'll see if tuning shop will show you what this looks like here. They added just a better menu for this and a little bit more customization. This is the first one that really allowed you to do exterior modifications of the cars other than wheels. That's pretty cool. We'll go ahead and just load right into beginner series event. And there's actually quite a few events on this one. Pretty similar to Gran Turismo 4. We can run Grand Valley on this one because this will be a good showcase of the PS3's capability. Hoping we race with other premium cars, but I have a feeling we're going to end up racing with a lot of standard cars, so it'll give us a good difference between the two. We're going to go ahead and just turn off. We're on comfort tires, that's good. Be sliding around like crazy. Yeah, we'll get a difference here between the standard and premium cars. I'm pretty sure they're going to be standard, the opponents. But we'll see once this loads in. Okay, any day now. Really wants you to install to the hard drive. As you can see, the graphics are Very, very impressive on this, on the 5th release here. Drastic improvement over 4. Look at full in-car view. Everything's modeled extremely well. And you'll notice so I can't tell actually how I'm capturing this. I believe that is a standard car right next to me there. And you can see the difference is going to be the modeling of the windows, and the actual polygon of the car is going to be very different. It may be hard to tell on this, but there's a definite difference between the premium and the standard cars. In one of the large updates, they did add the generic in-car ability for the premium, or for the standard cars, excuse me. But really everything looks pretty good. That's a standard car as well right there that I just passed. But everything still plays and works really well on this one. I mean, this isn't a terribly old game. It's like 10 years old, but it's still pretty old in video game sense, and this still is pretty great. Probably the one I would go back and play the most without having to sacrifice a ton of gameplay and graphic capability. Yeah, it's flash headlights. Oh, in it. Well, I drove that a little hard. Yeah, that's gonna be it for this first look into Gran Turismo 1 through Gran Turismo 5, and just showing off the differences between the platforms and the capabilities and the graphics and what's featured in each game. We'll try to get a track list and car list, or at least count, added to the beginning of each little video here. And yeah, this is a fun one to go back and visit and play. Ooh. So thanks for watching though, and definitely subscribe to the channel if you want to see more overviews of series like this or any other videos. Just let me know in the comments. Thanks, bye.